your drama. Chase success with Global.Media.com and celebrate it with or without champagne.
Welcome, Paulette. You're a bit too quiet. Welcome, everyone.
Hello, I can't see anyone. I don't know what I'm welcoming. It's all very weird for me.
You don't need to see them yet. I'll find them on LinkedIn. I'll see them on LinkedIn. Then they'll start showing up here. They'll start commenting.
Okay.
So that's all good. I keep talking, Paulette. It's a show, right? So welcome, our friends. I know you're there.
I'm not going to do singing.
You gotta sing to them today.
I'm not going to sing to them, no. I have a headache. I can't sing when I've got a headache.
Right,
what I have is bringing blind a headache, but I'm playing because it's the time when we want to talk about the new book.
I can see Dr. Vivian. Dr. Vivian is in the comments already.
Yay, Dr. Vivian's straight in there. We love Dr. Vivian.
I met her a couple of. Have you met her?
No, I have been so remiss. I've got about 30 people listed that I need to speak to, and Dr. Vivian's one of them. And Amika took so much of my time. She blamed Dr. Amika because instead of having one chat, we ended up with about 20, but it was all for good. But yeah. So now I do need to catch up. It'll probably be during Christmas, if not before Christmas, be in the new year. Because I'm taking Christmas off and New Year, like Annie. We're going on a holiday. Where are we going, Annie?
Home.
Home. Yay.
Home. I like holidays at home. You know, anything that sort of keeps me, you know.
Listen, me too. We've got a fridge full of food, cupboard full of booze. The only thing is the weather. I would do anything to change the weather, but
we're indoors. It's fine. Just don't go out. You know. So I'll still be here. I'll still be working. So I've got social media posts to do for my clients. What I wouldn't
so you'll be around, as it were.
Yeah. What I wouldn't do is
not doing rooms.
Yeah, the usual rooms. I'm just not going to do those for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing to do, and they'll miss you. They'll miss you. Yeah,
too. You know,
they will.
Your bona fides will miss you for sure. Yeah, so
I think that the nice part of it for me is I remember when I worked, and this is awful to say this, but I remember that 2-week break over Christmas and New Year. You enjoyed it more because it was friends and family and people, and whereas when you had your holiday 2 weeks, you were abroad and it was just you and your immediate family. So the only time when you ever got those 2 weeks together was Christmas and New Year. So I used to love this holiday. Of all the holidays, this is my favorite one.
I'm with you.
And not just like the house is like ridiculously decorated. It's not even finished yet, but it's ridiculously decorated, and it's just a lovely feeling to feel Christmassy.
I couldn't agree more with you. I like Christmas because it's the only time you can actually do nothing. It's the only day of the year you can actually legitimately do nothing. There's so many days.
Not those that are cooking. Those that are cooking. But those that are doing nothing are doing nothing.
I think those that are cooking, they are sharing their love.
Do you know what? A little glass of port on the side. A little bit of port in the gravy. It makes everybody happy.
Yeah.
Even those on diazepam.
It's the one that I get to play my game all day.
Which one are you into? FIFA?
But no, I don't play football, FIFA anymore. I used to, not anymore.
What do you play?
My game, I love zombie hordes. I love beheading zombies.
Charles, whenever we go to one of those
arcade things.
What do you call it? The huge arcades out of the fairs or whatever. Charles loves to go and blow the heads off zombies.
Yes.
Both him and Ben do.
You see, I think I love the ones where there's hundreds of
zombie hunters and things.
Yeah. Now the one I'm playing right now is Dying Light 2. I've been playing it for the last 8 months, maybe. I don't get time to stop and play. That's my problem, right? Christmas week, I get to actually play and finish it.
Christmas is going to be the time.
Yes. You know, my son will be
Nice.
playing his games. I'll be playing my games, and you know, they'll see me when I come to get food and drink. That's it. And I try
But
and
you
work
know,
a bit
I
more.
think that's important because it is about everybody gets to do the thing that they want to do.
Mm.
That is lovely. If you
Yeah,
could be a family where everyone can, but all know they're going to come together, have a great meal, have a lovely time, but you know, you don't have to then sit around a table and make idle chatter. Let the grown-ups do that. You go and
yes.
play your games. That includes any.
Yeah, no, definitely. No, it might look. I have no intention of sitting around the table with anyone, and that's for the in-laws to do. I know,
That's what I was
my
thinking.
wife can talk to them. I'll say hello. I'll do the pleasantries. And I'm straight
Hmm.
back to my room. I got my own room. We've all got our room, so I go straight back in my room and sit in and play my game.
It's a great way to have developed, I think, is to have that
Yeah,
quiet
I
time.
agree. Let me
Absolutely.
see. Let
So
me
have
see
we
who's
got
here.
many people in the room? Let's see who's here.
Let's see who's here. So I haven't looked lately. Oh, William, welcome, William. I see you.
Oh,
Hello, William, our best-selling author. What, 8 times?
yes.
And I think two hot new releases as well for his book. Welcome, William. I just made my latest superstar yesterday, so you know you're not old news, William. I'm gonna get your report to you. I'm gonna get. I need to crack these reports out over Christmas, Paulette. See, you didn't get reports, did you, of your bestseller campaign? They do now.
I
Just
didn't.
I'll get something to you so that you know. Shala, welcome, welcome,
Oh,
welcome,
hi,
welcome.
Shola.
You know, so of course, I was going to mention Shala's book, Ice, which is an invaluable book. Well, I'm glad you're here, Shala. One day, Shala, we'll see you on stage. We'll see you actually talking to us. That's the
I
day.
would love that. And I'd love it if it was in one of my rooms, one of the rooms that I'm in. I'd feel like this is such a comfy, cozy, safe space. Come on up and talk to us.
Yes. No, I think once you do it, once you break into talking on these events, you almost can't stop talking. That's why I found it. I always said I would never speak, and then once I said hello on stage, I was feeling was it on Clubhouse? Yeah, on Clubhouse. When I came onto LinkedIn, I was like, I must speak. Well, I think we see the same thing with everyone, Paulette. Where everyone,
Yeah.
the same people keep speaking over and over and over, because I think once you break that down, the
And they
fear.
zoom in a room. They're only in the room for like 2 minutes. They don't even have a clue what we're talking about, and they're on the stage. And I'm
That's what
thinking they were only on the stage in the room like 10 minutes ago in a different room. So people just like to talk. And I think if it like it's obviously part of my career, so I had to be able to speak publicly, and I had to. But I used to be a trainer like a million years ago, back in the day, as they say. I was a trainer. So when you're a trainer, I'm training people to speak. So if I couldn't speak, that wouldn't be a great great trainer, would I? So, and having trained people, the biggest hurdle you get is that initial, you feel like your throat's like constricting, and then but once you get that first few words out, as long as you feel really truly comfortable on the topic, you can speak for England or your country or whatever. And I
Yeah,
think that's the part that I noticed, that once we broke them and they were able to speak, it was just lovely. You saw such
it
development,
flows. It flows. After that, it flows, doesn't it?
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
I truly find
And
that.
it then as you say, you can't shut people up, but you're right. It's very true.
Yeah, and so,
Lying down there.
of course, I think this video medium, might change some of the ridiculousness that we were experiencing, Paulette. Where I think only serious people will come and talk on here. I hope. We're just starting off, so we're still getting some of the people who talk in what's what I'm looking for. They're not focused on the topic. They're still
Yeah.
talking, just rambling.
Yeah.
I think over time, hopefully, we'll get people who are more serious and more focused on the conversations that we're trying to have. But,
Yes.
but I say even then I've seen people who tend to talk all the time, and now they're more sensible. Yeah, they're not just doing their
Oh
script.
gosh, there are people that have had such massive. Just you witnessed it, the development, the changes, the way that they approach things. That growth is huge and admirable, and I love that. I love that. But it is, to bring it onto topic, it's a first, and every first is scary. Whether it's, the first time you publicly speak, whether it's the first time you have to make an announcement at the train station and you're the new train announcer, and it's like, oh my gosh, there's going to be 600,000 people hearing my voice.
What
What if I
if?
say the wrong train, and the
What
what
if? What if?
exactly.
What if? What
It's
if?
all the what ifs that go on in your mind. And as Leslie trains, and the subconscious mind is full of negativity and full of those things that are going to tell you it's going to go wrong. You're going to say the wrong thing. You're going to swear. You're going to say this. You're going to do that. And you know what? You don't. But that battle between, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, it feels like a war, but it doesn't have to be, because you can outwit it. You can outthink it by just saying, actually, I'm going to be absolutely fine. You just watch me. And that's when the subconscious mind goes, well, I'm not happy about that. I thought I was in charge here, And it really is the simple, when you say to somebody, you can do this, I believe in you, and they go, you do,
Mm.
and
Yeah,
that's the belief that's so important. And you
and
have to have the belief in yourself,
mm.
and then you have the belief from other people.
Yeah, no, I agree with you entirely. I think it is, that belief in yourself. No, I think that we should have that belief in ourselves for everything.
Mm.
I say that, and I mean, I was reading something that said that when you feel fear is when you should do it anyway. I truly think that's the case. If you
Yeah,
feel fear at
yeah,
all, use that to push yourself forward. You just use that, that, oh, I feel fear as the reason to go forward and do it anyway. Because you never know, it's going to turn out all right. I can almost assure you.
yeah.
No,
There's a saying, face everything and run, but there's also face everything, yeah, and react. So you actually face everything and react. So you are able to say, you're not going to win. This isn't a battle you're going to win. And you tell the fear, I'm in charge. And I think when you do that, I was talking to a fireman, the guy that used to do the swimming pool at my other house. He used to be a fireman and on the side did swimming pools. And he said that he still, when they told them they were going to get down the pole, the noise goes off, leave your dinner and you're off. That moment, the adrenaline cuts in, Fear's always there, because fear keeps you thinking sensibly. Fear keeps you going, hang on a minute, just hold on, don't just go rushing in, just wait for the instruction. But he said you still had that while you're doing everything, you're getting your outfit on and everything else. As soon as you jump on the fire engine, your adrenaline kicks in. And
yeah,
a lot, the noise is going, and you're in the fire engine, you're on the way to the fire, and you've got this whole battle going on in your mind about being in control. And it's luckily what happened is the person who's in charge of that particular troop, or whatever you want to call them, that grouping, the person in charge will call out the instruction. So you don't have to think about what you have to do, because somebody else is telling you. It's like being in the army. So you're not got to think, I'm facing a battle, I don't know what to do. Somebody who does know what to do tells you. And he said that was the when he first started being a fireman, that was the thing that he loved, was when they got there, somebody else went, right, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're going there, we're going here. And then that was it. Off he would go and do it. But that fear was still with you all the time you're in the fire engine, all the way to the fire. Because you're thinking, what are we dealing with when we get there? Are there
What
gonna
if?
be people in the
What if?
house? All the
Is it going
what
to
if.
be big? If someone died, am I going to come a cropper
Yeah,
today?
exactly. It's
Yeah.
exactly. And you know, is it chemicals? What
Mm.
all you get is the basic sketchy details. There's a factory on fire and there are people in it. That's it. You get told. And then you're off. And I remember him telling me that, and I thought, thank goodness for those people who are in charge who don't give you any more. Because if they give you any more, you'll be even more concerned. So I think that's another first. It's about every single fire is a first, because
Yeah.
it's the first time you face that particular situation.
Yeah.
And that's important.
Yeah, I think your analogy is important in itself, because it is that getting into the fire engine that everything begins. That's what
Yeah.
everything rests on. If you never, if you never get in the fire engine to go to the fire, nothing is ever going to improve. Nothing's going to
Yeah.
happen, right? You can't. You're not facing your fears if you don't take that first step.
Yeah.
So of course, I know
Yeah.
our conversation today is about new schools, new firsts. So, but the thing is to take that action, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Be prepared to face your fear and face it down.
And
Yeah.
be really good at helping other people face their firsts, because you've done it, you've been it, you've worn the t-shirt. So you're the expert in this situation. So you can say to that your child, I had to go to senior school first. I was, the one that came into the year late. I was the one that didn't have any friends. I've done that. I was that child. And they look at you and they look, and you managed to become an adult, you know? It's like,
Yeah.
whoa, you mean you got through this?
Mm.
And it really does seem to a child a mountain to climb. But when they look at you as an adult, fully functioning, and a parent too, because they've had you, and it's like you did all that and you got through it. And I think that's the really humbling part about being a parent or being somebody in a position of looking after children in any which way. If you're guiding somebody and they look at you for guidance and you say, I did this happened to me, and they sit there and they think, wow, you mean you went to school? You know,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, we
It,
did.
yeah,
Yeah.
it seems like impossible because you're this age and you're grown up and you drive a car.
Mm.
And, how can you imagine somebody driving the car and taking you to school, actually being this little and going to school? It's a big ask for a child to do. But if you can get them to trust in you, that you
Mm.
did it and you got through it, and look where I am now, that is the best lesson in the world, because most children look up to their significant adult. So they will look up to you and go, well, if you went to school and got through it, I'll be able to get through it. And that is something that not many people think about, but it
Mm.
is fundamental. It's fundamental. You have to be able to believe that somebody else has done it. Someone else has walked those same paths. Somebody's walked in those same shoes and come out the other side and become an adult, means that there's hope for me yet. And I'm only 7 or 8, you know? And I think that's what we're trying to say here. It's
Yeah.
about your firsts. How do you feel about those firsts? So who have we got in the room, Annie? Who's come to see us?
Oh, too many. No, very many. So, no, sorry, I was doing what I was doing. Okay. So Shola, we mentioned you. Oh, Miss Houston says.
Oh, hello, beautiful.
I
Must be
won't call
you.
her,
Is that you?
No, I mean, that's Miss Houston.
That's because
Welcome.
I'm in colour. I've got lipstick on.
It doesn't mean me. She won't call me beautiful, I hope.
She might do. Hi from the
Lois,
Netherlands.
yeah, Lois is always like Lois is an amazing supporter of our event.
Lois, thank you.
My light on. You can see my face.
Oh, you're
So
shiny
Jay,
now. Where's your lipstick?
Jay is
There's
here as well.
Jay.
I'll leave that alone.
I moved in with an aunt and uncle and had to change schools. As a result, I managed through that time. I was actually bullied on the bus ride. Yeah, I was a new northern boy attending school in the south. I survived and turned into a best-selling author.
Yeah, for 5 times.
5 times. Whoop, whoop,
Yeah,
whoop.
also in the US. Welcome.
Amazing.
Yeah, no, I think again, writing a book is probably some of the first that people don't face, Paulette.
Yes.
You know, I think, and I think
so many don't. Yes.
Like you said, there is that. Some other people have done whatever you're scared of.
I'd like it too, William.
Other people, they are afraid, but they've done what you're afraid of. I think, once you use that to fuel, like you said about the school thing, the fact that you've done it to me, someone else can say, okay, I can do it too. And there's so many things in life. Go.
That's right. I was about to say that's exactly it. When people look at someone like Jay and they say he's just become a 5 times best-selling author on his own, there are people. Melissa's now an international best-selling co-author. These are huge things to be able to say, and prior to doing it, you couldn't. So that's all about these firsts. And why didn't we before? What made us hold back?
Yeah, I think part of it, maybe apart from the get over your fear thing, I think it's a belief in ourselves, Paulette. That's what the book comes down to, really. We'll talk more about the book in a second. So Lois, of course, we can see you fully, Lois. Because you're not on stage, I guess we can see you as much as we see everyone else in the comments. So I'm glad you're here. Oh, Professor Roxana, welcome.
Thank you.
Another
best-selling author, co-author.
Yeah, the best-selling.
And hopefully on Monday, best-selling author.
Have book.
I'll be there.
See? That's why I love video.
Do you know what? Get the book.
I got so many books on my table.
Did you see how I prompted you?
It was hard to find any individual one, but here we go.
I like to prompt.
It is coming.
There we go.
On Monday, you get to buy it for 99 cents. It's Roxana's Family Wealth Secrets.
There we are. We'll be there.
Excellent.
Count on us 3.
Miss Houston's been funny. She didn't mean me, Paulette. She meant you all the time.
You've got pinker lips than me, but I've got blush on my lips. It's called blush.
We'll leave women to do the makeup.
Now that I'm on video, you see, I have to make myself in color. So that's what you get.
It's enough for me to have a wash before I come on the shows. And I was in my jumper earlier. I got to think, what am I going to wear? But that's enough. And I do shave my head a bit more.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you. I was worried that you wouldn't,
I look great. That's my excuse. So welcome, Carrie. Glad you're here.
Carrie, hi, lovely.
Welcome to you. And if anyone wants to come on stage, please, you feel free.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about our new book, New School Niggles. Where's the book? I'm sure I've got mine in the post somewhere amongst my pile of papers.
Jack and Water in New School Niggles. There we are.
The book is published now, and the book is out for sale. But don't buy the book yet. The book launches on Tuesday, the 17th at 3:30. So they're going to replace our Children's Anxieties room on Tuesday. Please join us and buy the book for $2.99, because your books, your children's books have pictures. which makes a bigger fire for Amazon. So they want to charge us more, but it's fine. You know, that's how it is.
That's just how it is, isn't it? There's not much we can do about it.
Now, of course, there is the book series, because now Paulette has 3 books. Now we can create a book series. It means you can buy
We can.
all 3 books.
We can
Yeah.
indeed. I was just looking for one of my favorite pages in there, which I think Jay will appreciate this, because he was
Which
always
one?
known as Mr. Tornado. Can you see that page? There. Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see that now. Yeah. Wind. Yeah, I remember that one. I remember that.
Yeah. And it's the feeling of absolute, petrified terror runs through somebody, and it's quite frightening for the child. And we were really talking about this a second ago about firsts, and anybody who remembers any kind of first, that whether, as we said, whether it was the first time you wrote a book, whether it was the first time your first job, your first interview, the first time, I was talking about a friend of mine as a fireman, first time that he he said every time that he got on, he'd come down his little pole, do his thing, and then get in his fire engine, and that every fire engine trip was a first, because you didn't know what you were going into. And I remember thinking, wow, that must be, it's such an adrenaline rush, but they require that. They need that, because they need you on high alert. And that high alert position that you're in allows you to take instruction, follow instruction, the same as you do in the army or any of the military. And I think what I wanted to try and get over in these School Niggles was that, parents trying to play it down and go, oh, you'll be fine, it'll be fine. And the child going, can't even breathe, paralyzed in fear, and them just brushing it off. Whereas when, as I said, when a child works out that you did this, you went through school, like they look at you as if to say, you couldn't possibly have gone to school. You're old, right? You can't remember what it was like, but you can. And you, like Jay said, you can remember getting on the bus and being the kid that was from a different area, and, just being bullied. And, things are hard when you're facing a first. Unless you've got the tools, everything is scary. And if it wasn't for Walter and GP really keeping Jack grounded, he would have literally been a blubbering wreck. But he wasn't. He walked in, and he was told to walk in like a basketball player and stand tall and hold his head up and feel 3 inches taller because your head's up, and all this kind of thing. And smile, because if you smile, everyone thinks that you're friendly, but actually everyone thinks you're showing your teeth. But the point is, they're the things that he got told to do. But when you walk in the room and you look at all these strangers, do you think to yourself, right, shoulders back, smile face, that? Of course you don't. You just look around and you just go, holy moly, there's all these faces I don't recognize. Where am I going to sit? Who am I going to sit next to? Are they going to be friendly? Will they like me? Will they talk to me? Every single negativity that could possible, every negative thought, every piece of negativity could come to the fore, comes to the fore. And then the child has to learn through the powers of the book and through the powers of Walter to almost be like I always like a tennis player, negative thought incoming, and bats it out. And it really does have to be like that until you get to the point where you're like, okay, I'm sat in a chair, somebody smiled at me. Life's going to be okay. And that really is what it feels like for a child. If you listen to them and they really tell you, and I've had them write little notes to me when I used to be Mrs. Worry and go into schools, and I used to collect all their worries in a basket, and then I'd come home and read them. And, you know, the idea of going up into a new year, so still in the same school, but just going up a year and having a new teacher was terrifying, you know, and we don't think like that. That's not what we think about. We just think, oh look, they've outgrown that class, and now they're going to, when they go back, they're going to be a year 5 or a year 6 or whatever. But for a child, it's a new teacher, it's a new classroom. Where are the toilets? I can't remember where the loos are around by that area. How far from the dining hall? I'm not in the same class as my friends. When will I see my friends? And I did a whole thing once, actually on Friends, and I spoke to them and I said, even if your friends aren't in your class with you, you see them before class in the playground. Yeah, they'd all nod at me. I say, right, do you see them at break time? Yeah, right. Do you see them at lunchtime? Yeah, right. Do you see them at afternoon break? Yeah. Do you see them when you're leaving? Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, how much of your friends are you missing? Because you should be doing work in the other bits, right? So does it really matter whether your friends are in your class or not? And they'd look at me and go, oh, yeah, you know, as if you've come out of like this amazing, clever brain. And it's like, it's trying to show them that that huge fear of missing their friends actually is only a little fear. So it's I used to love it when the kids would look at you as if you hung the moon, you know, and the stars sometimes, because you were able to take that fear away and put it in your basket and take it away with you. And they went home going, yeah, I've got this, you know, I'm cool about changing classes now, you know, and it's a nice way of, for me, it was all of these things have been put into the books. All of my little worries I collected are in the books, because as soon as you expand on that idea of telling a child you're only ever 2 hours away from seeing your friend, right? You're only ever 2 hours away. Can you survive 2 hours? You know, you do go to sleep at some point, I take it, you know, and that just makes it seem so silly to have been so worried. So I think that's what being a good listener, because obviously I listened to their worries. I took those worries and I did something with them. And they used to think it was magic. They used to think I was some sort of like crazy witch lady who had like some sort of alchemy in my fingers, that I was able to take their worries away in the basket. But the thing is, for them to just be willing to write their worries down and to think that it's going to make them feel better, which of course it does anyway, just writing, pen in hand, writing, getting it off, out of your chest, out of your mind, off your chest, out of your mind, helps you feel you've taken it a step further. You've moved away from the problem. And then when you've given it to Mrs. Worry, i.e. me, Mrs. Worry takes it away, whoopee, you know, no more worry, you know? And
Okay.
I just, you know, that's it. That's the way to do it, right?
So Jay says, I can relate. You know, I think that I guess I think some of Jay's point is we do it. We pass on our fears to our kids. How many times do you see people who are scared of spiders and their kids are petrified of spiders?
Me did it to Ben.
Right. No. So and whereas I'm like, it's only a spider. Catch it, kill it, throw it out, do something with it. Wait, the spiders have never eaten
Yeah.
anyone ever. But when I was in
I got a catcher. so I could actually be brave enough to put it over the top, push it underneath, humanely walk it outside because Ben would not let me kill it, and then throw it into the bushes. And I
Really?
said, if it's a homing spider, if it comes back, I'm telling you, it's going to get the shoe. And he'd laugh.
He likely will come back, right? He likely will come back.
Well, they say that spiders are homing, so
Mm.
maybe his family live in the walls or something. Don't like to
Yeah, they
think
want
about it.
somewhere warm in your house.
Yeah, no, please don't go there.
Anyway, I
That's
think
a fear that really is real.
I think we can
But a
learn not to
tornado
pass our fears to
experience
our
is
kids.
different.
Let's not
Yeah,
pass
but something
fears to our
like a tornado, if the children were around, if the children were part of, whether they were physically in the room, whether they were physically in the house, whether they were just seeing it on the news, whether they just heard about it, whether it's just a story that's been passed down. We carry those war, I call them war wounds. We carry them. We absolutely carry them. And they can be scars, and we have to try the best we can to take that away by never diminishing. I don't agree with diminishing. A lot of therapists talk about diminishing, but I think you have to honor, and you have to honor that fear and say, absolutely, it was terrible. But the likelihood of it ever happening again is very, very small. So what we have to do is think, it happened, it was awful, and now we have to move on. And we have to move on as a family together. And I think that's the part that you can do. You can help children benefit from hindsight and say to them, that was how we felt, but now we feel like this. Even dad feels like he's okay. And if I was the one that was kind of majorly affected, if I'm okay, you can be too. Give them permission to be okay, because an experience like that is huge. I mean, like I said about fires that are huge experiences, but for a child, every new experience, whether it's even going into a new shop, whether it's shopping for, I don't know, your first pair of expensive proper running shoes or trainers, or your first uniform, because at younger schools you just wear perhaps Airtex tops and trousers or whatever. When you have to wear a uniform, and that in itself, you're putting this uniform on and having a photograph taken at the front door going, oh, look, their first day at school, click, click. Parents, proud as punch of you in your new uniform. You could almost take the photograph of the knees knocking, because the photograph is of you going, smiling. But if you looked below the skirt or below the trousers, the knees would be banging together because it's fear. But the photograph looks like, look at me, ready for my first day at my new school. And actually, deep down, there's a whole bunch of scared.
Yeah,
And
I think
we just have to make that better.
I think the technique of standing tall to face any challenge always works.
Ben, I used to say to Ben, be like a tree.
Yeah.
Stand firm like a tree, as strong as a tree. And then, even if they run into you, they'll bounce off.
Yeah, but even looking at, there's a good few breathing experts these days on here. I was in a room the other day, and I think that when you breathe deeply, rather than taking shallow breath, which just makes which exacerbates your fear. I think your simple techniques, and breathing is one of those that can truly calm you down and help you move on.
That was always the reason for what would water do. So although what would water do was always asking water, I used to say we could always ask water like that, you see, very kind of like nonchalant. But then when I listened to some of the breathing techniques and realized the box breathing, and I thought, well, we could introduce that by saying, what would water, do. And when you speak it slowly like that, that gives the child the chance to just ask the question and breathe slowly. And that gives them the chance to just change that thought process. All it takes sometimes is a moment, and you go, oh, I remember what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to look like I'm not scared and
Yeah.
smile, you
Mm.
know?
Be brave, be brave. Let's
Be
welcome a
brave.
few more people in the rooms, and then we'll
Please
carry on
do.
for that. So, Nesh, welcome. Michael Habarigani, yes. Hello to you too, Michael.
Habaragani.
Yes, I'm not that
I
good.
say it very wrong.
I don't pretend I speak Swahili, so you do clearly, Paulette,
After the
right?
rain comes the... I don't speak Swahili. He just laughs at me. After the rain comes the rainbow, so you'll cry, your tears will dry. Oh, sent us a music video now.
I tell you. If it wasn't in the studio, you could have played it. But I'm glad, I got a video to play for you in a second. So
Happy
welcome,
Friday,
Leanne.
Leanne.
So Leanna's always a great supporter. I always love having you in our rooms. And Doctor, I saw Lisa before this show, so literally an hour ago,
Dr. Lisa.
doing her thing, telling them the proper ways, but health, fitness, and medication around menopause. That's why I call Dr. Lisa. I'm glad. Yeah, you're here, Lisa. Now I can relax. Indeed. If you're not here, Lisa, I worry.
How many rooms did we do together as a threesome?
Me, you, and Lisa. Goodness me! For a year, a year and a half we've been doing it. A year and a bit. So that's a lot of rooms every 2 weeks.
I have learned so much in that time from Lisa. I have learned so much. Amazing, clever girl.
That's
super
why I call
smart.
her Dr. Lisa. Truly.
Yeah.
I can know she's committed to people in menopause. Her commitment is.
But I would really like to get to a stage where somewhere down the line, Lisa is paid for her time. And I really think that there must be a way to monetize. For example, I have expertise and I can sell books to help. But if you're a coach, you're giving your time and people pay for that. I really do believe that we need to get to the point where Lisa is somehow paid for her time and her expertise.
No.
She's so worth it.
We are getting there. I truly believe we are getting there. So I mean, I think it's an evolution that some businesses go through. So remember, a year ago, no one talked about menopause. No one did that. I didn't see anyone talk about that. That's why Lisa had a place in our community. Now, maybe I've seen 3 or 4 different people talking about different groups of people even talk about menopause. Now, that tells you that there's a need. It tells me there's a need anyway.
Definitely.
And over time, people will begin to realize that they can actually benefit from this service. Yeah, and maybe the answer is what you just is write a book, like you just said. Lisa's written in 2 books so far. Yeah, I will go back to her and say, let's write a book right now. For all the rooms we've done, Paulette, can we transcribe some of those into a book, a menopause book?
100% we could. 100%.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I'd love to help because I think that there is so much there, and you could always have, the expert's perspective, and you can have, a therapist perspective, but you can also have just a woman's perspective, and you have people that have been through all these various things. So I really on my goals of 2025 is to get Lisa to somehow be somehow rewarded for all her hard work.
She will be. We'll get it done, Paulette. And I say, now the content is there. So over Christmas, I'll find the time to start transcribing, and then let's start writing that book. Let's start working with Lisa to put that book together. It will come. It will come. Dr. Islam, I'm glad you're here. Welcome. I think Michael says the same thing again, I think. So have a good day, he says. Yeah, that's how the song ends. Okay. So, my friends, I hope you know we're here talking about Paulette's new book, New School Niggles, New School
And my
Warrior.
blush lip. Paulette in colour.
That is what we're here for. Did you welcome Francesca? I'm sure you did, right?
I didn't know Francesca was here. Good afternoon, my lovely. So nice to see you and physically be here. Hi.
Welcome to Ernest. Welcome as well. Great to see you, my friends.
And
Thank you so much for
Ernest,
joining
of
us.
course, yes.
So Paulette's new book is it's a conference I've just seen. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Now, so this book is an amazing book.
Hi, Esther.
It is the one that makes a series of Paulette. Let me show you in a video what Jack and Walter books are about. You might have to upgrade and update the video, Paulette, but we'll talk about that later. Here goes. There's 3.5 minutes, Paulette. So brace yourself.
Stop worrying about worrying. We will keep turning. Doesn't matter what I do. Trying to be open and keep my head up to words not spoken. Makes all the difference to me and you.
I like that. I do like that.
Yeah.
I love that smile on your face, and that truly brings me joy. That's
My
why
smile.
I play it.
Yeah. It's sort of I think when you think a child could watch that and just go, it's going to be okay. That's all I ever wanted. So all I want for the world's children is to think it's going to be okay. Because I don't remember when I was younger having that feeling that it was always going to be okay. I remember being very scared and very anxious and so nauseous nauseous about everything. I used to just, I could tell myself in knots, you know, and I think that that's probably what has driven me. When I saw what bullying did to Ben and how it made Ben feel and how desperate he was, that was the turning point in my mind where I said, no other child on my watch is going to feel like this. So even if I have to make the books, write the books, print the books, deliver the books, give the books away, do whatever I have to do, I want every child to have the feeling that it's going to be okay, because no child should be left to feel like it's not okay. And whatever that new thing is, whatever that change is, like I said, just having a new teacher, whether it's a new classroom, whether it's a grown up and it's a new job, whether it's, we all have nerves and some of them are healthy. You know, you're walking into a new job for the first time. You don't know if everyone's going to like you. You don't know whether you're going to get on with your team. You don't know all those what coulds and ifs and shoulds and buts. But because we're adults, we're at least able to try and marginalize those worries by saying, but there is a very strong chance that I'm going to get on with at least one of them. And I know my stuff and they chose me and they've employed me because they trust me. It should be all right. But a child can't reason like that. A child isn't in a position to reason like that. And so we have to be the reasoning for them.
Maybe they can't reason like that by themselves, Paulette. But I think,
No,
as you're talking, I'm thinking,
but
right.
with help, they can.
Yeah, I think your books are essentially almost like a letter, a note to self, a letter to my younger self. You'll be
Yeah.
fine in all these situations. The bereavement, the first one, or the first book's all about.
Mm.
Moving home is the second book. This one's moving schools, and you'll be fine. That's
Yes.
what we need to teach kids. So we need to teach them how to find that way to have self. No, but when I say we need to, you found a way through what to do to get them to understand that they can just believe in themselves and they'll be fine.
Yes.
That's a message.
Yeah,
That's
and then to look at other people who've been through it and got through it and are fine. When Ben was a sixth former, he wanted to open a bullying desk for people who were scared or worried at school to come to the sixth form desk where big old 6'2" Ben would be waiting for them, right? And would be able to say, listen, that was me and I got through it and you will too. And if you give me their names, I'll have a word with them. Right? Yeah. And the teachers were for it. His sixth form lead was, yeah, go for it, Ben. And if you want to do that, that's wonderful. And then he got told by the head that they don't have bullying in that school. And Ben was looking at him going, you do know who you're talking to, don't you? You do remember me, don't you? Do you remember my story? And they were like, no, we're not having that. We don't need a bullying desk. So, it's hilarious. I thought Ben saying to the head, you do know who you're talking to, was one of my favorite lines of his life. I said, you said that? He said, yep. I was like, wow. But that would be, him saying telling it how it was, how it actually happened, and the headmaster choosing to forget, But the end result is, look, he survived. He's at uni, he's at med school, he's doing great, he's fine. And that is the answer to all the children who are struggling. Yes, it's crap. It's really crap right now. But you know what? One day you'll be at university doing what you want to do, and that will be in the past, and you would have moved through it. It's just a moment in time, and it's a horrible moment, but it is a moment in time. And if you can make children understand that, you'll be passing through this like a station, you'll be passing through this, coming out the other side and catching the next train, and the next train is great. If you can try and get that message across, I think you've won. And that's why I believe the books are a great starting point, but they're a great conversation starter for parents and teachers, or guardians and teachers, or counselors and kids therapists. Everybody needs to be able to have something to go away with and go, have a read of that book. It might help you. Yeah, go and read that book and tell me how you feel next week. And when they come back, they go, well, actually, I really like that bit. Well, why did you like that bit? Well, because Jack felt better, didn't he? Yeah. Why did he feel better? Well, because he made a friend. Well, how did he make a friend? And when you ask all those questions, the child will answer and realize that actually they can do it, and they will do it. And that's what, so it sounds like such an easy thing for a grown up to say. It's not such an easy thing for a child to do.
Again, I think bringing back to our conversation today, I'm going to put some more comments up. I'm saying many adults feel fear, even making the change from audio to this, for example. A lot of people.
Oh yeah. Me and my lipstick. I got a lipstick.
I think that at any age, the realization that we'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's important. Like, whether you're starting a new job, whether you got a new girlfriend, a new boy, are you in a new partner, whatever you call it, whether you're moving into a new home, a new place. Like, I moved from London to Cornwall. Different world completely. Different world.
Yeah.
But one day I said to myself, it'll be fine. I don't think I didn't think for a long time when the wife said, let's move. I'm like, you go. I'm staying here. Then one day it just dawned on me. I'm like, what are you scared of? They've got internet. I can do what I do from anywhere, really. So why am I scared to go to Cornwall? That's when I said, okay, let's go. Fine. A few swear words, but let's all right, I'll come. I mean, maybe I didn't fancy some of the negative consequences. If I didn't come, would that mean seeing my children once in a while, on visitation? Is that once a year? I couldn't afford that. So I had to make a choice eventually and say, I'm coming. I'll come. Let's make the best of it. And that's pretty much what I've done. I've had to make the best of it. There are a couple of questions for you, Paulette. Right. Kelly, thanks for your question, my friend. Glad you're here. What say you?
Do people really care
About each
about
other
others these days? Right. So I think if I'm truthful, and I always am, people tell me off for it, but I always am, no. People have become less caring towards each other than ever before, more divisive than ever before. But then when you find out what the reason for the divide is, then you find out that you've got more in common than you've got that divides you. So it's a case of, do people really care? Well, I think they can if they don't see what they believe is the divide. So you need to understand what's their reason for the feelings they have towards you. And then as far as getting confidence to share what you offer, I think as long as you believe what you're saying is true and right and is going to make a difference and is honest, heart-centered, I don't think anyone can turn that away. I'm yet to have anybody in a therapy session or a counseling session or in a school situation say, nah, don't want to know, not interested, you know? So there must be something about what you're doing that is making people think. So if you can make somebody stop those fears for a moment and think, then that gives you the confidence to continue to share. And then they in turn gain confidence. I never ever fear rejection, because if somebody doesn't want it, then they only have to say, I won't be coming back next week, and then I wouldn't see them. In schools, it was supposed to be only the children who had difficulties. And when they were asked, the children, who would like to go and see Mrs. Worry this week, 36 children wanted to go and see Mrs. Worry. So I had to say, no, it's not meant for every child. It's meant to be for the children that really need me. So that means that every child had something on their mind that they wanted to share. Now, some of them might take 1 or 2 minutes, some of them might take 20 minutes. And what you had to do was gauge which was the really important problems. And I used to say to them, so your mum's making you wear that pink dress and you really don't like it. No, I really don't like it. Okay, well, how about this? Wear it because it will really make your mum happy. And then put it right in the back of the wardrobe and hope she forgets about it. And they were like, that's really naughty. Yeah. But you know what? You're wearing the dress, aren't you now? And you're like, yeah, I'll wear the dress. So you can turn the biggest fears of wearing that horrible pink dress with all the frills on it, just wear it the once to please mum, and then hide it in the back of the wardrobe. Now that's a grown-up telling them to do something naughty, but it's funny because it's Mrs. Worry telling them to do it. So if Mrs. Worry says to do it, it must be all right. And so I think the fear of rejection would be when the parent says, where's that pink dress gone? And the child goes, no clue. And it's right wedged in the back of the wardrobe. And it's not the child's fault, it's Mrs. Worry's fault. And they will be quietly giggling to themselves that they can't find the pink dress anywhere. The pink dress seems to have gone missing. But the point I'm making is that rejection is, if you worry about rejection, you won't do anything. So, I could be sitting here talking to absolutely nobody. I would have no clue. If it wasn't for Annie telling me there are people here, I don't know. I'm just talking to the screen right now. And luckily, Annie's to my left, so I can see him. But the point for me is rejection doesn't scare me, because rejection is only someone saying, I don't get it or I don't want it. And if they don't get it and they don't want it, there has to be a reason. And if they don't want it, why did they come? And if they don't get it, we need to delve a bit deeper to find out why not. Make sense? Why did you do that, Annie? And he's run away. Evil creature.
Yeah, I had
Who's
to laugh.
laughing? What,
Look,
making me like that?
yeah,
How big,
spotlight, I
Paulette?
call it. You're the star. You're the one being, everyone's looking at you, not me. Anyway, look, I just put a link for the StreamYard in the comments. Copy and paste that link into your browser, and you will end up on stage, and you can share with us what your thoughts are, what your questions are, what your experiences are. I will say, please, if you do come in the studio, you might want to turn off your LinkedIn tab. Otherwise, it's going to have echo. It's like TV, right? It is. So yeah, you can't have two screens at once. Otherwise, there's that horrible echo that upsets everyone. Kelly, no, it's a joy. That's a great question. Look, if you ask me, I think the fear of rejection is it might be normal, but rejection is going to come to all of us. If you're not prepared for rejection over and over and over, success will not come. I don't think that's a bad thing. Paulette said it just now. If you create something people want, it's almost unthinkable that they will never get it. If you have a real solution for people, the question then becomes, are you telling the right people about your solution? That's marketing, right? You have to talk to the right people with the right message at the right time. And half the world will say, no thanks. You say no thanks all day, every day. We all do, right? Think how many adverts you've seen today. I don't care what time it is.
Nope.
On TV, on radio, on your street, on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
All of them you said no to, pretty much, right? Well, that's not a bad thing. So give people the chance to get what they want at the right time. If someone says no to me as a marketer, I say, yeah, that's I'm slightly not. But guess what? I'll go on to the next person. They might say yes. It's about finding that constant energy and spirit to go again.
Yes.
Rejection is not a bad thing. And there's much less chance of rejection if you truly build a community around you. We'll talk about
and rejection and failure or failing. People say, failing, oh gosh, I don't want to fail. But actually, failing is the way to success. Every failure that you have is just a step in the right direction. Yes, it can be exhausting, absolutely. But I think if you get the right people around you, I think it's okay for me to say that, but if you've got people around you who trust you and you trust them, who are like-minded, then that gives you the confidence to do everything and anything.
Yeah, again, don't think that it's hard to break through a wall. Tell yourself they need my service, and all I can do is keep telling them until they say yes. So you only need one person to say yes. One person says yes, you're away. Success begets success is what I always say, right? If one person says yes, easy to get number two to say yes. Especially if you play your cards right, and that person number one sings your praises and tells the world.
Gives you a reference and tells everybody exactly.
That's it. Look, it's doable. It's definitely you're not alone at all, Kelly. No, really not. I think it's a process. Put yourself in the right.
I think she said exactly what I was about to say. Networking, volunteering, getting involved in the community, that all helps you grow, and it also helps you be seen to be the right person, the person who's heart-centered, the person who's community-centered, the person who's interested in others.
Is that interested in
maybe
others?
And also look at the like the institute, you're I don't know what it's like in the States, but certainly like every area will have some sort of commerce institute where people who are all these businesses are listed. Lots and lots of businesses will list what they do. You go and join the commerce, and then you get to meet everybody in the commerce. So we call it Institute of Commerce. What other names are there for them? Chamber of Commerce, that kind of thing. I think it's called the Institute of Commerce in the States. But so it's basically a Chamber of Commerce that's local. If you join that is a great way of growing, because you're seen to be wanting to be part of something. LinkedIn user, who would that be?
That's Lewis. Finishing off your Chamber of Commerce conversation, I think when we approach these bodies, it's people. They're people, right? We need to go with that head held high thing, as we talked about earlier. Breathe deeply, go with all your courage, go and believe in what you're offering.
Believe they want you. Believe they need you.
Yes,
and they do.
So I'm very, let's be honest. Some people, your first time is not going to be your best time, whether you like it or not, right? In other words, your first service is not going to be your best service. So sometimes we just have to improve. We have to learn to improve what we do. Let's say that Paulette's on our third book now. Yes, then we've got a formula. I'm sure Paulette wrote a book before this that no one's ever going to hear of. You never told me, Paulette. I bet you did. We all do. My marketing agency is a company. I do what I do now. 2 years ago, I wasn't doing this. 3 years ago, I definitely wasn't doing this. 5 years ago, I was doing something completely different. And I was saying, why they're not buying my stuff. I had to learn there's so many different parts in business. You have to learn people's language, your client's language, your client's fears, your client's real
Yes.
problem. And then you can begin to overcome them. Let's say you start with one, as you said already, Kelly. Start with one. You've done that. You've done networking, and it's working. That's the important thing, right? Lois, and I don't know. What do you say to Lois, Paulette?
So lots of failures, I think, are because of two things, and obviously not knowing what they all are. But if it's to do work or jobs or things like that, then okay, we all have, and that's what happens until you find the right one. And when you find the next job, you'll probably find that you'll be very appreciative of it because you've been without one for a while, and maybe go with a slightly different attitude. Maybe be slightly humble when you're actually employed. Once you've got the position, go in there and be quite humble and then show them what you've got. It's like the biggest surprise in the world is when they think you're at C level and you go in and you're at A level, but you don't need to tell them that. You just go in there as humble, and then you show them A quality work and they're like, wow, A standard all the way. We didn't know we were getting this, right? So sometimes it's holding a little bit back to show just how good you can be, how successful you can be, what you could do for that company. But if you go in there day one going, I can do this, I can do that, before you know where you are, you come over as someone who's going to go in there and completely change everything they've already set up. And lots of people don't like that. That makes them scared of you because you become like potentially somebody's what I call an agitator. An agitator is someone who comes in and starts moving things and causing friction. So you don't do that. What you do is you go in there and you're very, very much part of the team. And then you start to introduce your work gently. And then you see them be very appreciative of the change. And then you can introduce the next change. And I have found through all my years of business that I've gone in and been the agitator. When I was first a consultant, I went in and went, right, okay, you're going to do it this way. And if you don't do it this way, you'll be out the door and da, da, da. So I didn't make friends. I made enemies, right? And they weren't frenemies. They were proper enemies. And I found them all talking about me in the loos. And, I'd come out the toilet and find 4 women standing there, not realizing I was in the toilet. And they were all calling me all the old cows under the sun. And you're like, okay, well, maybe I need to rethink how I'm playing this because I need them on team. I need those people on board. So I think everything with work, and certainly when you're consulting and trying to rebuild things, or whether you're going in and just literally saying, you've made a great big hash of this, let me sort it out for you. You have to do it in a certain way. And I did have to learn that a bit of humility and a bit of I was humble at the beginning, and then if I didn't get the support and people didn't play by the game, and I found out, they probably didn't have a job on Monday. But you know what? The point is, every Friday they would be worried that it might be them that was going. And every Friday I'd make an announcement. There are no redundancies. No one is going on my watch. There's no need. Injury at work, reinventing myself from a different humble participant. Yes, exactly. Absolutely. You have to, because you are a different person because you've had that injury. It changed you, and it doesn't make you any worse or any better. It just makes you a slightly different version of the person that you were.
Look, I will say,
Yeah.
look, when it comes to the jobs thing, it's very easy to be negative, to fall into a negative attitude, negative feeling. Oh, I'm just doing this application form. I'm not going to get the job anyway. Don't think like that. Genuinely, whatever it takes, convince yourself you're going to get the job. I know it's going to be tiring, like we said earlier, but convince yourself this is my time. They need me, and then try and convey to them as best you can why they need you. If they say no, then just prepare to fail, like you said. Do you know a rocket fails its way to the moon, Paulette? We think a rocket starts off on Earth, goes in a straight line to wherever it doesn't. It falls offline all the time, all the way there, and it's put back online again by the computers. So back off. Same as anything in life, right? Be prepared to fail. Failing is part of the success. And so
Somebody said once, failing is part of lifing, and I think that's really true.
it's
Failing
true.
is part of lifing.
I think it's really true. And just keep your enthusiasm, keep your energy, keep your belief about you up. If you if you ever lose that, then you tend to
Don't ever lose you in any of
yeah,
this. The most important thing about everything you ever hear is that you are the most important thing in the whole situation.
true.
They need you.
Yes.
They need you.
You can do amazing things for that company.
Yes.
You have to think that every time, even when you get the rejection letter, maybe you want to look at it and think, what can I learn? What can I do differently from the application?
Mm.
Slowly but surely you edge towards the job that you want. Eventually, someone will see what you see.
There's a lovely piece that I read when I was studying for my Institute of Personal Development, my IPD, which is about 35 years ago. As a piece I remembered, I've never ever forgotten it, and it said, if somebody gets rejected by you, and then this is what I love, they say, and then they write to you afterwards and say, I appreciate I didn't get that job, but I would like to be kept on file for any other vacancies that you might have that you think are suitable. That person is tenacious. Tenacity is a skill that every company needs more of. Keep that person in mind, right? And I thought, wow, keep that person in mind. So what you do, instead of just filing that CV, you put that CV somewhere where you can see it. And every time a new vacancy comes along, it might be at a lower grade, but you know what? At a lower grade, that person can walk that job. And once they're in the business and they've walked that job and shown people what they're capable of, they fly. And I thought that was such a valid point. And I've said that to so many friends of mine whose kids have failed, been told, oh, I got a rejection letter, or I got a rejection letter. Write back to them and say that you appreciate you didn't make that vacancy, but you'd be like to be considered for a position in your company because you really liked the company. And the person who's sitting behind the desk in HR will be like, I was. Look at it and go, tenacious. Keep that person, put it on the wall. And the next time a vacancy comes along. So, bear that in mind because it works.
Of course it works. It really works.
Tenacity is one of the most important things you can have, because being tenacious means that you're determined and focused and willing, and companies need that kind of drive in people. So don't
Yeah,
take it as just a no. Right,
yeah,
let's read
and
Jay's one here.
maybe don't take it as just a job either. Really, I think. See, I think there's a universe and there's spirituality element to everything, right? Now,
Yes.
if you are genuinely keen to help my company grow, either I get it or I get it a second time, as Paulette say. When you send me the letter saying, I didn't get the job, but I really want to help you, and I know I can definitely make a difference to you. But if your mindset is, oh, let me just get a job, let me see how it goes, and I need to pay my bills. No, come out, approach everything with a passion and intentionality to do good. Believe you, the universe will smile back at you. That's why
Definitely.
I find Paulette really, it's the day when I
Yeah,
truly want to help this company.
and something you said that I really love as well, and again, I've used this example, is when a child is going off to school for the first time,
Mm.
and if they've got a water card in their pocket and they feel like it's okay, if I need to, I've got a touch point I've got a point of home, I can feel home in my pocket, it's okay. So there's that's initially like when they're very young and they're very, 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 very anxious, they've got that feeling. As you become older and you're more mature and you're grown-ups, you still sometimes need something from home. So people carry pictures of their family in their wallets. They carry, you'll be surprised how many people have a photograph on their desk of their family. And people say, but you see them every night. But you know what? I think that's for something different. I think it's a reminder that you need to go home. I think the reason you put that picture of your family on your desk and you're sitting there at 7 o'clock at night working on something and you look at that photo and the mind says, home. I need to go home because my family need me, right?
You're good. You see, my thinking when I look at the picture is, I love those people. That's my thinking. I don't go home, by the way.
That's because you are home. But no, I mean when you're working at a desk away from the
Mm,
house
mm,
and you're
mm,
in, say for example, in London and you've got an hour's commute and you're looking at the clock and you know you've missed family dinner and you know it's getting on and you were going to help your son with his homework but it's getting
mm,
later, and there's a deadline to reach on a piece of work and you think to yourself, why am I always the one that's sat here doing it? And that's when you need to go work-life balance, have the conversation, right? You
yeah.
have the conversation with yourself first,
Mm,
plan it all through, then you have a conversation with your team lead, and then you talk to your team and you say to your team, is there something funny I've noticed? I'm always here, gone 7. You lot have all buggered off. What's going
mm,
on? And that's when you get to sharing the workload. And maybe what happens is Monday he stays late, Tuesday you stay late, Wednesday they stay late. But now 1 day a week you're staying late, not 5. And you can do that by communication. And it's that photograph that is
mm.
the catalyst.
Close your ears, everyone. When I get those moments where I think, why is it always me? I tend to fire my whole team. You're not working hard enough. Why am I paying you and working extra hard? That's what happens, truly. I said that out loud. Damn, they all heard me, right? I
Yeah,
don't always, but
I think you see with that one, I would say that there has to be better instruction. So yeah, I agree. If the team aren't doing what's required of them,
Mm,
there's an issue. But you also have to look at what the instruction is. And if
yeah,
they are not carrying out the instruction, then absolutely you're correct. But if you're not giving good enough instruction,
mm,
then it's on both of you. And
I
so
agree.
as a mediator, I'd sit between the two of you and say, how do we fix this? Right?
I agree with you. I
I'm good
agree.
at that.
I'm still too childish to find a better way to motivate them. But then, no, look, Paulette, let's be honest. There's so many different rules, right? It comes back to the point that was mentioned that someone asked, I think Lois asked earlier, right? That's Lois, or that was Kelly, where you give the instruction, but people want to do less for more money. And that's just a plague we have. And that is why we don't employ most people. There's a plague, it's a feeling, it's a reality. And
Yep.
God, I've tried, Paula, I've tried. And I said, I've fired a good, I've had several teams of people, several, in the 10 years I've been in business. From day one, I started employing people. My first worker lasted what? Not my first one, probably I got an office, as a young lady, lasted 2.5 years. Right. So she worked. We worked to build a business. Those before her did not work, so I had to get rid of them. Since then, they last a while, Paulette, and then once if I see they don't care about my business, they have to go. The motive is to earn money for the sake of earning money to live. No, it's not about me, my business. I'm quite harsh. Because ultimately, here's what I weigh up, Paulette. Right. Who has to survive in all of this from any perspective? The business must survive.
Well, the business, yes.
And if you want more money, otherwise you're leaving. Ta-da! The business is me and
see, I would look at it slightly differently. I would say, you want more money? Then I'll tell you what, I'll put you on commission. You go find me X number of clients. You can have the money.
They won't take it. No, I've never met anyone who said yes to that.
You see, that's because, well, in that case, I mean, it's still got to have a salary because everyone needs a base salary. I've argued that forever. Everybody needs a base salary, but I do believe commission is a great motivator for the right people. And it is only the right people. There are lots of people, if you say commission only, they say bye, right?
Yeah,
or running. You say it's 50-50, it's like, panic. But I say what you do is you look at the situation and you say, how can I make the most money? That's what I would do. How can I make the most money? Right, I take that base and then I take a commission structure that says, when I reach there, it goes up to that. When I reach there, it goes up to that. Right, you watch me. And what I used to just go, and then you get to the point where you're going to get all the money and then move the goalposts.
Yeah,
and then you go,
right,
exactly, I'm out of here. And not only am I out of here, I'm taking all the customers with me.
By a bit.
Let's see what happened. Look, I did it.
Look, Jay says, you talked about being the example as a significant adult in a child's life. You are that an example, Paulette Hallam. You are the one. Thank you for having the compassion, for doing the work and writing these books. Totally true. You are that person, Paulette. I guess we know that. Which brings me back to the book. Make sure, please, my friends, make sure you're here. Support Paulette's book launch on Tuesday at 3:30. I'm glad you're here. Nesh, so my good friend Michelle Ramos has turned up as well. Michelle is writing articles on Medium these days. She's monetizing me. I can't say I'm a great fan, but she is truly into sharing her stories that we can all learn from on Medium, the platform. So do go along, and do support. I made a comment on her posts yesterday, I think. Do the same. It doesn't cost you anything to make do great comments. Which have I missed? I know this is really important for you, Paulette. The philanthropy argument, giving money to the needy. Girl, what's your take on that?
I was just about to say that every penny that comes from the sales of these books gets reinvested in books, and these books go into the cases for comfort cases, so the cases for children that are going into care. And so to have something that gives them a feeling of you're going to be okay, you're going to be okay is all we want for every child. But for a child that's in care or being taken into care or moving around the care system or going into foster care, they need that extra, it's going to be okay. And that's what these books are for. So every single one of the books that are sold, after 3 books are sold, there's enough money to buy another book that we then give to Comfort Cases. And we were able to give them 700 books in total last year. This year, last year. Yes, 2024. We gave them over 700 books. And they've all gone into cases for children in care. They've also, the Newhouse Nerves is in children's stockings, the Christmas stockings at Great Ormond Street Hospital, which is a big children's hospital in London. So they'll be going, these books will probably go in next year. So 2024, they've had Newhouse Nerves that have gone into their stockings. We've also given books to various charities because I think it's really important not just to think about yourself as now I'm in a position to do this, I want to do it. I think it's more about what can we do for children? How can we make children's lives better? And the way we do that is to make them feel like they're important. We care. And this is that little bit of what I said earlier. It's going to be okay. We can't fix it. I can't fix the foster system. I can't fix the care system. But I can give a child a comfort of knowing it's going to be all right. And that's what these do. You're muted. Muted.
Sorry about that. You can see me being muted. Right.
I was watching your lips and I was saying, what is he trying to say? Or is he chewing a coffee?
So right. Joshua says, thank you. I would have loved this, but not a good, that's so real early this morning here. Thank you, my friend. I love the end. Give my regards to Broadway. Yeah, I like that. So you are the star today, Paulette. You're always a star, though. I want to check something very quickly. Ooh,
was that Mr. Onley?
Yes. I think Liana is an international co-author.
Joshua Kiss too.
I'm glad. I'm so glad you're here. Let me bring Jay on stage. Says me talking.
Hey.
How you doing, Jay?
Hang on a minute. Wait a minute.
Congratulations.
That's
Jay.
me blowing the trumpet for you.
Congratulations. I'll send you all the screenshots of all the number ones that you got today. Wow, you've seen 3, and there's 2 more for sure.
Man, I appreciate it. So I was chomping at the bit, but I've already got some things I got to take care of after yesterday's launch. So good things to come. Anyway, this has been definitely a journey. And when we were talking about first, I was like, oh my gosh, I can totally relate when it comes to first. That really resonated with me. Way back a year ago, I was part of a collective, and there were certain people in the collective that really encouraged me to write my story. And then along the way, there have been other people who have helped me on that journey. Paulette being my accountability partner, and of course, the publisher, and a good friend, right, guiding me along the way, pushing me, right. I've got, as the kids say, life tends to life, right? And so Annie's been all the way kind of, nudging me a little bit, maybe even pushing me. But it was all good. And, I would have
By the way,
never.
can I have my shoes back?
Yes, they're sure somewhere. But when you were talking about first, I think you just have to take that first step, right? You have to face the fear of whatever it is that's going on in your mind. Usually it's a limiting belief. And I had to search for my limiting belief as an adult. My limiting belief goes all the way back to when I was a cub reporter at a news station, and I didn't look like the people in the room. And I didn't sound like the people in the room. And I didn't have a college education like the people in the room. And so all of those things and some really bad experiences along the way creeped into my head. And I've stayed stuck because of that. And it wasn't, I've had this idea for a book for a while, but it was only until last year that I was actually contemplating it and moving forward. Annie, you said it the best, man. Like, when you get that fear, that's the time you should act. Like, don't sit in the fear. Don't stew in it. Don't let it creep into your brain and stay there. Move forward. Because you never know what's going to happen on the other side. You never know, right? As long as you're doing the best you can, you're going to be able to get through it. And who knows what can happen from it. As a kid trying to fit in at a new school and being bullied, that kind of set the tone. I didn't even make it to class yet. I was bullied on the bus. So it was like, And so from that experience, though, I've gotten these bits of lessons on resilience and tenacity and all of that. But really what it is about facing those fears. You can't, I'm living in a new environment. I'm going to a new school. I've got a bully that's on the bus, but he's not going to be in my classes. He's not going to follow me around like a puppy dog, right? No, I've got to do this on my own. And so all of these lessons had to start with a first step. And hearing what you were saying, the both of you, about it, can embolden people, give them the opportunity to see what can be. And you mentioned it several times, right? I'm an adult now. That scared little boy, that 12-year-old, I said it recently, and I've done this exercise a couple of times. I close my eyes, I cup my hands like this, and I take 12-year-old Jay's hand and place it in there. I'm envisioning this, and I'm telling Jay, young Jay, dude, you're going to be okay. Everything's going to be all right. You're going to go through a bunch of, excuse my language, crap, but you're going to make it. Take that first step. Don't worry about it.
It's face everything and rise. That's what fear should stand for. And if you can face everything and rise, you take everything that is scary and work out how you can break bits off. They always say, how do you eat an elephant? Not everyone likes that particular saying, but you know what? If you say, how do you eat an elephant? You eat it in, bit by bit, right? So if you say the same thing, that's the same principle. You take the big problem and you take a little bit off at a time. You can't fix the big problem in one, so you just take a bit off at a time. And gradually the bit gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And then suddenly you're bigger than the bit. and your belief becomes bigger, and then you outweigh it and it's gone. And that really is the way it works. The first step is always the hardest. Absolutely.
I agree.
And there's no shame in saying that either. No.
Yeah. If you never take that first step, then you're not in the game. You're never going to win. You're never going to get what you want. That's the thing. I love what Jay said. This is what brings this book to
quick, get it
adults.
up, get it up, get the book up. Go on, give it a flash.
There you go. All right, so Jay, we're gonna stick
book
your
flash.
bestseller badge on there. We're gonna stick your bestseller badge on there so everyone can see it from now on. That's like, look.
Hey.
Congratulations, Jay. I think taking that first step is everything. But I think a lot of people, as adults, we feel fear and don't realize it's a limiting belief. It is something that it's really something that happened to us as children, and we're carrying around with us that luggage of I failed, I couldn't do that, and negativity that we talk to ourselves is harmful. It follows us for life. This is why I think I'm always want to say, let's get in a habit of taking that step, even when we're scared. Because next time you feel that way, you say, "No, I'm going to do it anyway," right? If we get in a habit of running away and hiding, never taking that step, that becomes our habit. And we all have those baggages that we carry around. We must learn to leave them behind.
As Mrs. Worry, who used to go into the schools, I used to have, along with my worry basket, I had which was a lovely big wicker basket, but I had a rucksack full of bricks, 3 bricks in the rucksack, right? And that's heavy for 5, 6, 7, 8, even 10-year-olds go like that, right? And I say to them, do you know how heavy the worries are in this basket right now? And they're like, no. And I'm like, well, put that rucksack on down there. And they're going, and this is in front of a class. And I put in the rucksack on there. I can't do it. And I'm like, would you like some help? Yes, please, Mrs. Worry. And I'd help them with the rucksack. And I'd be like, can you do it up? And we'd get it done up. And they'd be like, I can't hold it. And I'm like, right, let's take it off. Do you know how heavy worries can be? And that point is when they realize worries weigh you down. And you can teach a 5-year-old that just by taking that one step, by showing them the physicality of a rucksack.
Yeah.
It's crazy to say it, but that's exactly what it's about. Jay fell asleep holding my phone, reading it last night. Oh, how lovely.
See, that's what it's all about, really. I think, this is why I love what I do. It's only small parts because you're the authors, right? And I think having seen your idea, your thoughts, your want, and vision becoming things someone else is holding their hand, that is magical beyond words. True. That's why when I get books, the first proof normally, it makes my day more than people know, more than anything else. And I happily do a video for almost every proof I get to say, look at this. Your ideas become a true reality. It's now in people's hands. It's now going to be on people's coffee tables, on their bookshelves. That is the whole point of being an author. And Jay, you've achieved it more once, and I'm sure there'll be more. When you do this writing, become addicted. Look at Paulette. 1 book, suddenly she got 3 now. It's a good addiction, because you're trying to help people, right? So, as Michelle says, that you're a mentor to her, and your words are gold. That is the whole point. Thank you, Jay.
I said to Jay, just on that note, Annie, I said to Jay a long time ago, when we started working together, I said, this book could be the second most important book that anybody buys. And he was like, but, and I'm like, no, I'm serious, because if you think about it, every single book, every single page is an answer to a problem. I've got to do this. Oh, I'll go to my book. I've got to do that. I'll go to my book. So in a way, it's very similar. You look for parables, you look for stories in a Bible, fine. But by the same token, Jay's book is your second Bible because it's full of information that will help answer so many of your problems and your questions.
No, it's really magical.
Thank you for your comment, Paulette. This is Carrie in the chat. Oh,
Yeah, again, if you know Carrie, I know you do, Paulette. Carrie is a most
lovely
positive
man.
person you're ever gonna meet. Literally every day he sends, not just me, I'm sure, a joke.
No, I get them every day.
He creates them by himself, and I say I love his
Mm.
positivity. I love his sense of joy, sense of happiness. It's an important one. Failures are part of life. There's a lot of people who wait to be happy when they've done something, Paulette, right? I'll be happy when. No, be happy to get what you want. That's such a lesson I had to learn. Yeah.
Do you know the person who hasn't got a roof over their head is grateful for a tent? The person who's got a tent will be grateful for a house, right? You only have to look at everything that you have around you and think, wow, I am lucky. I might not have a job right now, but I've got food I can eat. I can afford the bills and I'm just getting by. But just getting by is better than an awful lot of people right now. And that's the truth.
I
After
agree.
you, go on, Jay.
Go on, Jay, please.
Jay's got his finger up.
So, in talking to a friend of mine, he was really in a dark space recently. And we've had so many talks over the years. He's actually a mentee of mine. And I talked to him a little bit, and he started talking about all the things that were getting him down. And at one point in the conversation, I said, this, and it's cliche, but it's been said over and over again, but it really is straight to the point. A man complained that he had no shoes until he met the man with no feet. And that's the thing, sometimes it's perspective, right? But there's something that we all have that we can be grateful for and thankful for and appreciative of. And in the case of first steps, it's resources, it's the book, right, that you can turn to, but it's also that significant adult, that mentor, that person who has the skill set that you don't have. So having you two in my corner has always been, to me, of great value. And like Michelle, I don't have long conversations with her. She's not really a mentee in this traditional sense where we're meeting constantly, but knowing that I've impacted her in some of her first steps, I think is immeasurable, right? As far as that type of impact that you can have on a person, even without knowing. And so I think that in a lot of cases, we have to be examples, right? Like you said. And so by our example, people can actually see how they can achieve success, how they can move through adversity. And that's why it sounds like I'm trying to kiss somebody's behind a lot of times when I get on these
shows. On this show.
But I'm not, it's,
I'm not watching. Do it quick. Do it quick.
Yeah. I'll put on the avatar. So, but I really want to thank people for what you do and sharing your story. I just want to thank you for sharing your stories, because we are that example, whether we sometimes whether we choose to be that
To
or
be
not.
or not.
Hmm.
But thank you.
I'll just tell you a funny story very quickly, because we are talking about worries and serious things, but sometimes things are really serious to a child, but humorous to an adult, right? So a child wrote one of his worries was his dad was wearing a dress, right? And I read, because I don't read the worries while I'm at the school, I read the worries when I'm away. So I'm looking at this, and it says on here, my dad was wearing one of mummy's dresses, Mark. So I knew who it was. So I said to the teacher, I think I need to talk to Mark a bit more. He's a bit worried about something. She said, anything in particular? I said, well, I'll let you know after I've spoken to him. So anyway, the reason, just so you know, I was called Mrs. Worry was because if you go into local schools and they say, oh, it's Mrs. Hallam is doing therapy, my name, Hallam, is local name. Ben's name was local to the school. People know who we are. So if they think it is Mrs. Hallam, they're going to be pretty scared that their kids are going to be telling me all of their secrets and business and whatever else. Not that it would go anywhere, but the point is that's what would frighten them. So by introducing this character, Mrs. Worry, nobody knows who Mrs. Worry is. She's like a Nanny McPhee, it's an imaginary character called Mrs. Worry. So Mrs. Worry comes in with a worry basket and a walking stick and a rucksack, of bricks and of all the worries. And this Mark had written this note. And so I asked him, I said, well, what are you worried about? He said, well, I thought it was very funny. I said, did you? He said, yes. He said, and mummy thought it was very funny. I said, oh, that's good then. At this point, I'm like really in the dark here, not knowing what to say next. So I said, so if mummy's happy with it and daddy's happy with it and you're happy with it, why is it a worry? He said, well, when I told grandma and granddad, daddy got very upset with me. I said, oh, I see. So grandma and granddad weren't impressed that daddy was wearing a dress then? No, they were not happy at all. So I said, oh, right. I said, did you get into trouble? He said, no. He said, but I had to go to my room. I said, oh, so did you go and play? Yeah, it's okay. I won't play. I said, right, well, I've taken that worry away now, so you don't have to worry about it anymore. So anyway, I spoke to the class teacher and I just said, look, this happened. Just be aware of it. I said, I don't know whether or not the reason, but he said his mum was happy with it, his dad was happy with it, he was happy with it, but the grandparents weren't. So she said, okay, fine, thanks for telling me. I've got I've got parents' evening next week. She said, how on earth am I going to be able to face them, knowing what I now know? And I said, well, you just have to pretend you don't know and just sort of try and say that it was brought up in class. So she said, well, the thing is, Paulette, it was. After he told you, he figured it was okay to tell everybody. So he told the whole school. In assembly, he did them, you have to stand up and tell. Well, he decided that now the worry wasn't a worry anymore, because I told him that if mummy, daddy, and he was happy with it, it wasn't a problem. He stood up in assembly and said daddy wore a dress at the weekend. So anyway, she says, so now it might be a problem, so I better mention it to them. I was like, oh, what have I done? Anyway, in the after the assembly thing, like the other teachers were all sort of like in the staff room going, oh my goodness, But anyway, parents' evening arrives, which was only a week or so after. And the parents are sitting opposite her, and she says, everything's great, it's doing really well, it's really getting quite confident. And she said, but there is something I need to address with you. It's a bit delicate, but I just feel like I need to tell you, because that it might get around, you might be asked by the parents about it or whatever. And by this, they're looking like really completely like, what could it be? They're like, their faces are saying nothing. So she said to him, okay, you're giving me nothing, so I'll come out and say it. Mark might have mentioned that you were wearing a dress, and that Mummy was quite happy about it, and he was quite happy about it, but Grandma and Granddad weren't so happy. And of course, at this point, both parents burst out laughing. They were going, we were going to a party, and it was called a Tarts and Tramps party, and he was dressed up as a tart and I was dressed up as a tramp, and it was a party where the men all dressed as women and the women dressed as men. That was all it was. So she said, okay, that's great, and I'm happy that you're really happy about it all, but just so you know, he stood up and told everybody, so everybody in the village now knows that you were wearing a dress. And instead of him being like angry or upset, he just burst out laughing. He said, the party was in the village, the whole village was dressed up in dresses, it's fine, don't worry about it, it's all great. And she was like, oh, phew. He said, how long have you been worrying about that? And she said, a week. The whole week, knowing that I was going to have parents' evening and that you were going to be there and I was going to have to tell you. And yeah, apparently everybody in the village was dressed up. So it's another example of worrying about something that really wasn't a worry at all. And that is quite often what you find with worries. We create a worry that isn't even there.
Yeah, it's as adults as children for sure. I think I always love this saying by Ollie. Instead of being a warrior, I want to become a warrior, the one who does, right? Or a warrior of words. Let me say thank you. Welcome, Dr. Amaka. I see you. Glad you're here. I see Michelle, Natalie's here as well. Ollie, welcome. Glad you're all here. Have I missed anyone? No, I've never missed anyone. Michael, you come back. Excellent. Look, my friends, we'll have to end the show sometime, right? We'll be here all day. For those who just joined us, essentially, the news is that Paulette's new book, New School Niggles, which completes a set. There's a set of 3 that you can buy for children. Is launching on Tuesday at 3:30 UK time. Was that 10:30 EST? So do join us then. Can I play a video game, Paulette? Jay, didn't Jay make this video?
No, it wasn't Jay. It was oh gosh, what was his name? Kay.
There's another video Jay made, which I think we need to play every so often as well. So Jay, please, someone send me that video. I couldn't find it, so
it was the advert you made, and it was brilliant. Yeah, I've got it.
Like I said, this is one I found on the website. My friends, let's give you a flavor of what the Jack and Waters series are all about. This is for the second book. So
Carol did that.
Carol
did it.
Where's it gone?
He's working. We're working very hard.
That's all right. So let me play the video so people can get a good idea. Yes. There you go.
gotta stop worrying about worrying. We will keep turning. Doesn't matter what I do. Trying to be open and keep my head up to words not spoken. Makes all the difference to me and you. Me and you. This time I will go wherever you go. I will stop being no show. I know, never stop believing in you.
I do love that video. But I love Jay's video too, and I just to show you for you to know why we love the video so much. I said thank you. Ollie says, cute video. It conveys a message, and I think it's that thing about take time to think before you have to jump into anything. Just take time to breathe and face whatever situation you have to face. Right.
Yes.
That's when you see those breathing therapists these days on LinkedIn. I never laugh at that. I take them very seriously, because at one time the mindset people were the same thing. When people used to look at them and go, "Oh, here they go again." Mindset, but it's the key, right? It is the key.
Yeah.
It's what got all of us to where we are. So Margaret, apparently you're here, Margaret Superwoman. I'm glad you're here. Thank you so much. I don't know why you're LinkedIn user, but you're here. That's Margaret's one of my co-authors in our anthology. The one I haven't shown the background for yet. Jay's background is what I'm showing you now. So Jay has many skills. He makes videos, makes backgrounds for every platform, and he's a 5-time best-selling author now. I tell you, when I tell you I do what I do because I have a mission. The mission is to make people famous for life. That badge stays with Jay for life. The book he writes from now on, written by the best-selling author. That's why I do what I do, and it's emotional. Even though it makes me emotional half the time, but Paulette has many bestsellers, bestseller as well. This one's going to be a bestseller on Tuesday, I hope, with all your help, my friends. Do join us and do come and buy the book. $2.99 is what it costs. After the launch day, you're welcome to buy the print books to give to the children you know. So now the set of 3. If you know 3 kids, maybe 1 each. You've got one kid who's very deserving. Buy the kid all the books. Paulette. Now, what do you want to say before we go?
All I would say is thank you for arranging this pop-up video. We got it done this year. We weren't sure we would, but we did. And now that Jay's book is put to bed and is a #1 multiple best-selling everything, we can now concentrate on New School Niggles. And New School Niggles is about helping children on their first day at a new school, a new classroom, a new bus, everything that's anew. This book will help the child transition through. And every penny that is made from these books is spent back into books in the UK for comfort cases, for the children's cases that go into care. And if the money is made in the US, I have a way of working that out very easily. Any pennies that come from the US, that goes back to Connect Impact Hub, which is Martha, her charity, and she helps with the homeless. And it's been that way since we started it. So all the US money goes to Martha, and all the UK money goes to comfort cases. And that way everybody wins.
They really do. Thanks to you, Paulette. Well done. It's a great book. Jay, if you want to say something, please feel free. Pavika, thank you as always. I don't know if I mentioned you until now. I saw your name, but I'm glad that you were here. Like you say, the 3 kids can exchange a book between themselves. I want this book to be like the what was the books in our day, Paulette? It's the famous 5 books.
Enid Blyton, yes.
Yeah, that one. I do have a
Famous
vision of,
5.
becoming the kids series for 2025 and beyond. That's a dream I have for the Jack and Walter books, and there's no reason why they shouldn't be, because they're needed and they're meaningful to help kids and they entertain and inform and empower. All those things all in one. Famous Five books tried to do all that, Paulette. They didn't quite work. I
Yeah,
want to
they,
meet.
they,
I
they
want to.
I
I
want
want
to
to
talk
meet the
about
moon.
wheeze
I
and
want,
poos and farts.
I
So
want to
we've
build
kind
a
of a bit
moon
more
really.
2024.
The News and Boom are a bit different level of books. I didn't enjoy them either, so I started reading them all together.
The thing is, parents enjoy reading the books, which I love as well. You know, that's a lovely thing to hear that the parents have enjoyed it. Made them laugh, you know, but like a pantomime. There's bits in there that adults will see in a slightly different way to the way that kids do.
You have to have an open mind to see Paulette's funny jokes. You know, if you're
Yeah.
British, you might get it more. But I think everyone, if you look at it, what she says, and you realize when she's being funny. You know, Jay, anything you want to say before we go?
Sure. I just kind of want to wrap things together in a little bow. You know, those first steps all those years ago have led me to this point in my life. And, you know, much in the same way that some other media, you know, is geared towards kids. I've said it before, the Jack and Walter series isn't just for the kids, it's also for the parents. And I learned some things from it. And when we realize that kids are just tiny human beings, we're going to be able to help them, you know, through their life and growing, you know, and growth rather. And so I just want to bring that to the table. But the other thing is, if you ever consider getting an audio book together, an audio version of your books together, I'd like to be the narrator and storyteller for the American side.
I think
I
for the
love
for
that.
the whole world, really. Like you have a clear voice, and I guess doing what I do, I know what it takes within reason. You need someone with that energy, that joy in their voice. I haven't got the joy in my voice. I'm rather monotone, right? Now, what you can do different voices for different parts of the book. That's your real skill, right? You know, so my friend, I look forward to you promoting that service a bit more, because I think we all need a voice for our books. We all do.
Yes.
You know, my anthology
It is
needs
something we've been
voices.
talking about.
Yeah. You know, as I said, so let's talk, Jay. Let's find a way to get more people to benefit. You know, all of us will sell more books if we have an audio version. So for that reason alone, I think we should definitely have a conversation and see how we can bring it to the people, right? You know, thank you so much, everyone. Paulette, anything are you done?
I love that adults with big kids too. Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I like that. Sometimes, I'm really grateful for having the opportunity to reach people today. And you know, the thing about the launch on Tuesday, we're going to use the slot that's normally the children's anxieties room. That anxieties room came from all these books, and all the answers that I give are in those books. And so really I'd like to think that I will read a little excerpt from each of the 3 books, and I would like to hope that you'll get the voice of Jack and Water and understand the purpose. And GP is such a zany character. And zany is the word that I can use because I know everyone knows what I mean. Someone called her crackerjack. Well, yeah, she's crackerjack too, but she is zany and she is off the wall crazy, but best fun ever. And everybody needs a sort of a GP in their lives. And I think you find your GP. It doesn't have to be your grandmother. It can be whoever you can have a bit of banter with, whoever you can have a conversation with that answers how you need to be spoken to. So if you're somebody who's a bit like, give it to me straight, give it to me direct, you don't want someone who goes around the houses, you know, go to your person who gives it to you straight. That will be your GP, you know. It's whoever gives you that sense of, I'm going to get the answer I need from that person. And that to me is so important. So I look forward to it. I read a little excerpt from each of the books, and we hope to promote the 3. But obviously we'll be really pushing New School Niggles to try and make that a bestseller, because that would be amazing. So thank you, everybody.
Do it. Thank you so much, Paulette. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, everyone that's joined us. Look, connect with each other. If you're wondering how, go to the comments page for the event and literally follow the people there. Connect with them. If you want to engage in conversations, by all means, please do. I have to say thank you, Natalie, as always, for your help to
Absolutely. Thank you, Nat.
Well done, you. Well done, Jay. You are part of the star, my friend. Welcome to the Authorverse. Yay. Yay.
Michelle wants the coffee mug.
Yes, so do I. Well, and I'm just waiting for my signed book. That's what I'm waiting for, from Jay. So it will come. Once I put the gold badge on, then I want a signed book. My dream of 10,000 books in my library that were published, we'll get there in the end.
I love
Take
that.
care, everyone. Take care. So I'm going to play.
Thanks, Annie. Thank you. Thank you, Jay.
Enjoy. I'm going to play the last song and then I'm going to end the stream. So I say bye, everyone. Have yourself a great Friday, great weekend, and all that comes to all of us, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Every step forward is a new beat to your drama. She's success with Global.Media.com and celebrate it with or without champagne or rum. She's success with Global.Media.com. Every step forward is a new beat to your drum. Achieve success with Global.Media.com and celebrate it with or without champagne or